Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Kim Walsh Phillips here with Mike Sedola, our Chief Marketing Officer. Hey Mike.
Hey, Kim.
I'd love to find out where you guys are tuning in from and what snack and or beverage you're currently enjoying. As you can tell, I'm a little bit under the weather. Mike's going to do the majority of talking today, but I'm going to hang out with you guys in chat. But part of my remedy is my hot cinnamon spice tea, so that's what I'm enjoying today. But I'd love to hear a little bit more from those of you who are on here right now. So we have Patricia from the Netherlands, and she's drinking sugar-free energy drink. Shauna from Atlanta. We have, let's see. Shauna's enjoying a Starbucks. Um, let's see. Jennifer. Is it okay? We have Jennifer on here, and Al and Barb, and we have Barb's from Wisconsin enjoying some coffee. Drew is from Montgomery, having coffee with Skittles. Ooh, really? The sugar and the
Skittles.
caffeine.
That is a
Nice.
first.
Yeah, that is a verse. Natalie from Clare, Missouri, having some sweet tea. And we have Crystal from South Carolina. And Sandra from Canada have a cup of hot tea. And Sky from Hawk from Scottsdale having some coffee. Alvin from Georgia. It was just cranking in there. So welcome everyone. So glad to have you on here today. I just saw Mike from some of their comments when you and I were meeting and going over stuff. It was live. But
No,
that's
that's
cool.
good.
You guys got to see behind the scenes before we started. So you know what you're going to for today, and it's incredible things and where you're going to discover 8 breakthroughs to double your profits in just 56 days and do it again and again. Before I turn over to Mike, I just want to give a brief overview of why we brought you this program today. Mike came to work for our firm because I believe in it's better if I want to if I want to make it to the Olympics, then it's better for me to hire someone to get me there that's already been to the Olympics versus someone that knows how to get to the Olympics. We hired Mike as our chief marketing officer because he had already increased the profits of both his business when he was his own real estate firm, and then when he was the chief marketing officer at GKIC prior to coming to my company. He knows how to not just front load. Most of the marketers focus just on lead capture, which is so important. We want to bring all those leads in. And there's better ways to get more leads for each dollar, but there's a lot of other places to get money too. So one of the biggest changes that Mike made that made a big difference in our numbers was to start looking at how many people are coming to our landing page and not opting in. Where are we losing leads there that we could be profiting from? Okay, once they're on our list, how often are we communicating with them? Are they getting the most that they need from us right now? Those that are already a customer, what else do they need that we're not currently doing? These are the types of things that have enabled us to more than double our online sales in 2017. So super excited for today's workshop. I'm going to hang out with the entire time. I'll be there with you guys in the chat. So post any questions that you might have, and we will dive right in. And with that, I turn it over to you, Mike.
Perfect, Kim. Thank you, and welcome to everybody that is on today. I'm actually going to turn my camera off. So that the slides are bigger on here. And just wanted to make one clarification. At GKIC, I was not officially the chief marketing officer. I was the marketing director. That was a big distinguishing point for them. So I just wanted to make that thing. But no, I did run the marketing promotions, the various aspects of that there for years. And so what we're going to discover today is how to double your profits in just 56 days and do it again and again and again. But first, I want to tell you a story. And it's a story about a kid just out of college and an aspiring real estate tycoon, agent, mogul, all of that. So, and as some of you know, my background is real estate. And so this is my story. I got into real estate right out of school, and I thought I could absolutely kill it, but I got in and realized you don't get any money. You actually have to spend about $5,000 to get started in real estate, and they don't pay you anything. It's 100% commission from day one. So that was a big departure from what I had thought I was getting into there. So since I didn't have any money, one of the things that I could do was run open houses. And I didn't even have any listings. I didn't have my own houses to sell. So I would actually sit at other agents' open houses, the places they were selling, in hopes of meeting buyers. But it was a good real estate market, and so I would sit an open house every single Sunday. Other agents kind of hate doing this, so I would do it for them. I would find homes that had kind of my target market, and that was like younger people, starter homes. And on average, I could get about 10 people coming into the open house. And so that meant I could meet about 40 people per month. And I'm going through this because this is going to be the story about how just 2 breakthroughs totally changed my business. I knew if 40 people came through, about a third of them would leave their real information. So at an open house, if you've ever been, like, they have a little sign-in sheet. It says, hey, leave your name, your number, your email. As you can guess, most people didn't want to leave the real information, or they said they had an agent, or they were just a neighbor or something like that. But about a third were actually buyers, or at least said they were. And if I worked really hard, I could get about 1 in 5 of those people to become a client of mine. And at the time, I was young. Again, it was first-time buyers. So a client was only worth about $1,250 to me after all was said and done, and I split commissions and et cetera, et cetera. So using this system, doing an open house every single Sunday, meeting 10 people, having a third of them give me their real information, and then about 1 in 5 becoming a client and working with them for months. That meant I could get just under 3 clients a month, which was worth about $3,300 to me, or about $40,000 a year in revenue. And this was pretty much my exact revenue that first year in the business when I started. Open houses were the main way that I was getting my business. So I thought that was okay. I mean, there were a lot of expenses there. There was about $1,000 a month in expenses as well with it. So I really only took home about $28,000 before taxes and all of that. So it wasn't exactly super lucrative that first year, but I said, what could I do? And this is where the first breakthrough came in. I said, look, if I'm meeting 40 people by holding open houses on Sunday, why don't I double that and do them Saturday and Sunday? I could just kind of multiply my results. And Saturdays weren't as good as Sundays. That's why most agents didn't do them on Saturdays. But I could get about half as many people through on a Saturday as I did on a Sunday. So that was about 20 extra people per month. So now by sitting them Saturday and Sunday, I could get 60 people through an open house. And that turned into a little over 4 clients a month. So year 2, that was about $5,000 a month I was making, or $60,000 a year, which that was a real nice increase over year 1, because doing extra open houses didn't cost me a dime extra. So that extra money was 100% profit for me. And all I had to do was spend an extra 3 hours a weekend at an open house with that. So thing was, we had a problem. At that point, I'm sitting open houses every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And if we go back to that, that meant 4 clients a month, which was about 48 clients a year that I'm working with. I could not work with any more clients. So I couldn't just have more open houses. I couldn't even handle more clients at that point. And that's when I discovered, hey, I can get more clients than I can really handle, because that 48, I'd already kind of pick and choose from it. So why don't I just kind of up the prices of everything? And to do that in real estate, it's real easy. You just sell more expensive homes. So I started sitting at properties that were more expensive. So people who would buy those properties, since it's 100% commission, I would make more money doing that. So that's where I decided I needed to work smarter, not harder. And so I increased the fee, I say, by 40%. And again, how I did that, I just sat at more expensive homes and went to a more affluent market. So now this was year 3. So my old client was worth about $1,250, but by sitting at a little bit more expensive homes, a new client was worth about $1,750. So that was $500 extra with no extra work or expense, simply by choosing to increase my fee by sitting at more expensive homes. So what this looked like was year 1 had 33 clients that equaled about $40,000. Year two, by sitting those double open houses, I made about $60,000. And year three, by sitting two open houses and then also sitting at more expensive homes, that was about $84,000. The best part about all this again, though, was that my expenses didn't go up a dime. Whether I'm sitting in a $100,000 condo or a $150,000 townhome at the time, I wish they were still that price now. It didn't matter. It didn't cost me any extra. It doesn't cost me an extra dime, any extra time to sell people the more expensive homes. So in that time, over the first 3 years, my revenue was up 210%, and my take home, my profit was up 257%. So I went from kind of a meager first year of $28,000 before taxes to $80,000, so about $68,000 before taxes. So it was great, and I was feeling like I was the king of the world. And it got better from there, because then I opened my own brokerage. I took the things that I was doing, showed it to other agents, and within 2 more years, we hit the $1 million mark for the business. So the thing that we really wanted to talk about, though, is I was only using 2 of the 8 business breakthroughs. The other mistake I made was I was using them consecutively, not concurrently. So like year 2, I didn't think about sitting at those higher priced homes. I just thought about sitting at more open houses. So if I would have just doubled that the second year, then I would have made that $80,000 in year 2 rather than taking a whole extra year to do it. And the truth of the matter was, I was kind of doing this by trial and error. Most real estate agents, like if you look at the national average, the average real estate agent makes less than $20,000 a year. A lot do it part-time. A lot just really aren't that successful at it because they think it's going to be easy and it takes a lot of work. So I didn't have great guides on it. So it was a lot of trial by error, but I was getting there. I was figuring it out. And at the point where I was at the $80,000, I knew I could do more expensive. I could start some other marketing and put other referral systems in place and do all that. And I could show other agents how to do that. So even with relatively little knowledge, I was able to vastly increase not only my income, but 35 agents who were working for my brokerage. So I'm interested, if you want to discover how to double your profits in just 56 days, not 2 years, not 3 years like I did, and do it again and again and again, I want you to type "I'm ready" into the chat box now, and we're going to go through the 8 business breakthroughs for your business. So are you ready? Go ahead and type "I'm ready" into the chat box right now. I want to see who's getting in here.
Yeah, we have Al, Angela, Jennifer, Donnie, Rob, Bob, Sandra, Crystal, Walter, Barb. They're just popping in here. Annie, keep them coming, Jennifer. David, Natalie, Kathy, Drew, Steven. They're cranking in here, Mike.
Okay, great. And I see that we've got a Jenny. She wrote in the comments, "You sound like me." I'm hoping she means about real estate rather than my voice, but either way, I'll go with it here. So let's get ready and let's get through these 8 business breakthroughs. But before we do, I want to say who this is not for. This is not for you if you're closed-minded. These truly are breakthroughs in business. This is what's going to allow you in a very short time period to double your profits. So if you think this sounds too good to be true, or you're going to kind of tune out, I don't blame you, because there's a lot of people who say this, but it's not true. We're going to show you real life examples of how you can do this again and again using these breakthroughs. Also, you've got to be willing to try something new. If you're unwilling to try something new, that really means you're happy with the results you've already got. If you won't try anything new, then how do you expect to change your situation? There. So if you do something better than the competition, you'll get incrementally better results. But if you do something different than the competition, then you really don't have competition. So what we're going to talk about today is how to do something totally different than the competition. So you don't have to be the best at it, you're different. Like Elon Musk, when he was building the new car, he actually told his people not to think of it as a car and to throw out all the traditional things. He wanted them to think of it as a way to get from point A to point B. How else has he kind of leapfrogged companies that have been in the car business for literally a century, and they've got like the first self-automated or self-driving car, and it's electric and it's totally different. It's because he went in a totally different direction and started in a different place than all of his competitors, and now places that have been around for 100 years are trying to catch up to him. Third, though, this really isn't for you if you're not in the game. If you don't have a business, it's hard to double your profits. This is great for you, like to get the ideas, to write this down, to start incorporating this, but you got to get in the game. You got to have a business in order to obviously start making profits using these strategies. So definitely write them down, take them in, but then you got to get in the game with it. So today you're going to discover how much more you can make in 56 days from now. We're going to go over the 8 strategies you can choose from to get there, and I'm going to show you the easiest and fastest way to do it. So right now I want you to grab a pen and paper because we got 4 things we got to write down, and I'm going to give you a minute to do this because you seriously need to grab a pen and paper now. It's better if you handwrite it than if you do it on a computer or anything, but go ahead and do that now. I'm going to wait just about 10 seconds while you do that. Hopefully you're at a place where you can grab this. We're going to do some money math, and I know math is a painful subject for most of us, but it's money math. We're going to talk about how to make more money here. So if math can be fun, this is the fun side of math. So the first thing I want you to do is to write down how much more a customer, client, or patient is worth to you. So how much is a customer, client, or patient worth to you in your business? So like for me, for real estate, I knew my first year it was about $1,250. That's what one client was worth to me. And in the future, I'm just going to say customer, but no, it's customer, client, or patient. So write that down.
And I'll just give an example as you're going through it.
Yeah.
We know at the agency now, our clients are, because I know some people said, oh, well, I'm not in real estate. So we'll give a couple other examples there too. From our agency, we know we have the minimum monthly fee is $2,200 a month to work with us as a private client, and it's a minimum of a 6-month contract. So we're going to take that as a customer value. Whereas if we're doing a promotion, let's say for our Powerful Professionals membership, it's $100 a month, and we would estimate a 12-month membership. So we're going to come up with that value. So you're not even just looking at your first month. You're saying, what is it worth to you overall? And in that, we're going to be looking at the value of the customer for how much money they give you and how long they usually stay a customer.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're not exactly sure, just do an estimate. So if you're a dentist, are they worth $300, $500 to you? That just do that first year. If you're a restaurant owner and they come in, will they come in 3 or 4 times a year on average, or do they just come in once? And is that worth $50, $75, $100? So just write something down to you, how much one new customer, client, or patient is worth to you. Then I want us to jump into something a little bit harder that we may not know, but I want to go through this because it's one of those things that really, if you're going to have breakthroughs in your business, like I said, if you're not willing to do anything different, this really isn't for you. In order to improve something, we've got to be able to track it. So imagine trying to lose weight if you don't know how much you weigh. You don't have a scale, you don't know where you started. So just 6 months from now, you get on a scale and you're supposed to say how much weight you lost, but you never had a measure when you started. That's not a very effective way to do things at all. So you've got to start measuring some of these things if you haven't already. But if you haven't and you just kind of have an idea, think about how many prospects do you get in a month? And what I mean by prospect is this is if you're like a dental office, this would be it. How many people call up your office or visit your website? There's not customers, these aren't patients or clients. A prospect is just someone who comes into your store, has some kind of contact with you. So for me in real estate, a prospect was anyone who called me, went into an open house, just somehow came in contact with me through the course of the day as a real estate agent. So, and if you don't know how many in a month, just think of a week or think of a day. If you have an office, do you get 3 calls a day asking about your services or your hours or anything like that? and then just multiply that by 30. How many prospects? And then we want to talk about how many of those prospects turn into leads. So like I said, I knew if 10 people came into an open house, 3 of them on average would give me some correct information where I could follow up with them. So if you have a website, for example, are you asking for their name or their email address? So they move from prospect to lead when they actually give you information. You collect information so that you can follow up with them or reach out to them again. So again, for me, every 10 people, about 30% turned into a lead of mine. So get that number, write it down. And again, if you don't have the exact number, kind of guesstimate what you have. And then finally, and these will be great for you to track going forward. I guarantee if you do nothing else but track this on a month-to-month basis, it'll be one of those things that's in the back of your mind, and your numbers are going to improve just by that. It's just like people who measure themselves on a scale on a consistent basis tend to either lose more weight or gain less weight, like over the holidays, because they're cognizant of it. And then finally, how many of those leads, so these are the people you collected some information, turn into customers? So again, in my example, I knew about 1 in 5, that was 20%. 1 in 5 over the weeks and months of follow-up and working with people, about 1 in 5 turned into a client of mine. So those are the 4 important numbers that you need. So when you've got this in there, when you've got these 4 things written down, just type in "got it" into that box. I just want to make sure we have it because you're going to want this for the next step. And this will be the last math that we do, I promise. So let's see, just type into the box "got it" when you have.
So we have Roger, Mio, Jenny, Jennifer, Roxanne, Donnie, Kristen, Shauna, Nancy, Crystal, Sandra, they all got it.
Awesome. Okay. I'm gonna move on here then. So I've got that number here. Oh. Okay, so you're gonna look at your numbers, but what we have, like as of today, I'm just gonna take a low number and say that a new customer had a value of $1,000 with that. And so for real estate, for dental, yeah, I mean, even for a restaurant, I mean, someone over the lifetime of a new customer, I mean, that's not that many meals, unfortunately, nowadays. That it could be worth $1,000. If yours isn't there, just substitute that with whatever number you have. And I said 100 new prospects a month just to keep things easy. 10 of those prospects, I did just 10% of those prospects turn into leads. And 2 of those leads turn into customers. So what that math would look like, I'm sure people on here are a bit more aggressive and more successful than this, but if you're just getting started, this may be the exact boat that you're in. And this was the boat I was actually starting from 0. So that meant 2 customers a month at $1,000. That would be $2,000 a month with that. Now let's apply a couple of the breakthroughs that we had in here from that first example and say in 56 days from now, we increased things by just 20%. So many times people try and reach kind of for the stars and they say, well, if I did double the number of leads, prospects I got, what if I doubled the number of leads? What if I doubled the number of customers? That's great, and that's absolutely doable, especially if like you're following a certain model or you're following someone who's done that before. But let's go a little bit lower and say you're just getting 20% more. So like in my example, by adding an extra open house, I was getting an extra 50% more, but let's cut that in half and then decrease it from there and say I just added an hour onto my open house on Saturday or on Sunday. So I was getting 20% more prospects a month. I increased the capture a little bit. I got better with my scripting at the open houses. I got more people to sign in. And this actually really happened because I would bring other homes in the area that were for sale, and I'd print those out, and I'd say, hey, if you sign in and tell me what you're looking for, I would actually have them fill out a card. Then I would give them the other homes that were for sale. Again, I wasn't sitting at my own clients' homes. I was sitting at other agents' homes. So I just needed these people to buy a home from me. I really didn't care which home they bought. So I would capture more people. And then with my follow-up over time, like I had better emails over time. I had better postcards. I actually had a newsletter that I would send out. So I was able to follow up with people more and increase the number of those leads that turned into buyers. And it actually increased a lot, but I'm saying it just increased 20%. And I'm going to get rid of that going to 40% more expensive homes, because I realize in a lot of businesses, you can't do that. I say that with hesitation because there's a heck of a lot more businesses you can do than you can't. Like if you're an attorney, you say, well, I can't just go to more affluent people. Well, why the heck not? I guarantee if you're charging $300 an hour, there's someone out there charging 40% more than you. I guarantee if you're a dentist, someone's charging 40% more than you are, or an accountant, or if you have a store. Kim, there was a watch site I was on yesterday. I happened across because I looked it up. I saw something on Instagram. The watches started at $350,000. So again,
if you're looking for a thank you present for me for this wonderful year of employment, that sounds good.
Christmas is right around the corner.
That's right.
Good things come in small packages.
So that's what our mom always told me anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have enough kidneys right now to make watch the reality. But the point is that there is always someone charging more for it. But let's say, let's not go with that 40%. In this example, I just went with 5%. Like if you're a hairdresser and you've been doing people's hair for a while, and you tell them, hey, instead of $50, that would be $52.50. No one's leaving. No one's balking at that price. You can raise it by 5% in the blink of an eye. If you're an accountant and you're charging $100 an hour, telling people it's going to be $105 now, people are going to stay with you. They don't want to go to another accountant and do all of that. So that's a very realistic, actually a pretty low number, but do it. So the bottom line is when you take all these numbers, just 3 of them change by 20% and the value changed by just 5%, that almost doubles your monthly revenue and adds almost $24,000 a year using just half of the breakthroughs with very conservative numbers on there. So all we did was look at the prospects, increase that, the leads, increase that, our collection rate, turning those leads into customers, and then the value, raising that. The best part is, though, even though we doubled the revenue, our profits probably went up by a lot more because none of these things cost us money to do. So our expenses stayed the same. So like in my example, the profit over 2 years went up by 257%, whereas the revenue went up 210%. So your profits are going to be actually more than double in this example. So let's talk about what the 8 breakthroughs are now and go through those. We've talked about 4 very kind of tangentially, and so that's why I want you to kind of go through that, but we're going to go through them in a lot more detail here. So the 8 breakthroughs are attract. So you've got to attract prospects to your website, to your office, to your store, whatever it is. I don't care what kind of business you are. You've obviously got to get people somehow interested in you. This could be Facebook. This could be, Yellow Pages. This could be walking down the street and seeing a sign, or just happening in your store. Number 2 is collect. You've got to collect information from those people. In real estate, I would have been dead in the water if I did not get people's information and follow up with them. Because think about it. Most people, if they go to an open house or they call about a house or they're somehow interested, it's not like they're going to buy right then and there. They're not like slapping down a contract and ready to go. No, it takes months and months before they're ready to go, whether it's selling a home or buying a home. And that's the same in a lot of businesses. Even if you do have a faster turnaround time, so let's take the restaurant, for example. You say, well, I don't need to collect information. No one comes into my restaurant who's not going to eat with me. That could be absolutely true. The problem is if you don't collect their information, say you have a slow Tuesday night and you don't want slow Tuesday nights, what if you collected all the information of people who came in, and on Tuesday afternoon, you sent out about specials that you had that Tuesday night there? Don't you think you could make your office, your restaurant, whatever it is, a lot busier? So you absolutely got to be collecting the information. So if you do nothing else from this, start thinking of all the ways you can collect information. A lot of offices make this mistake. They think someone who calls in and asks, hey, when's your office open till, or where are you located? Are you collecting the information of the people who call in? Do you think 100% of the people who ask what time you close are A, going to be there before you close, or do they all make it in without you collecting and following up on that information? Third, conversion. You've obviously got to make the sale. So you've got to convert them from a lead to a customer, client, or patient. Fourth, and we talked about this, raising prices, raising fees. And you can do this in different ways. Actually, in real estate, I not only went after higher end clients and higher end homes, but I actually got to the point where I was charging 40% more than my competition as well. So I was not only going to more expensive properties, but I was charging 40% more. So I had an almost 100% increase just on that one. Number 5 is referrals. You've got to have referrals in place and strategies in place. And we'll go into that more. 6 is retention. You don't want these people to leave you and go to your competition. How do you retain them as your customer, client, or patient instead of putting money into your competition's pocket? Number 7 is an upsell. And I mean, we can do this all the time. Like you see it at a restaurant, they ask if you want dessert. That's an upsell. So it doesn't have to be something that's more expensive than the initial thing. It's just little add-ons that you could add on to that sale in that cycle that add a lot of profit, because getting a person into the restaurant in the first place is a hard time. Asking them if they want wine or an appetizer or the bigger filet or a dessert, that's all an upsell. And those are great opportunities for every business out there. And number 8 is frequency. And think of this, again, in a restaurant's an easy one. If people on average come to your restaurant just twice a year, can you get them to come in 4 times a year? Can you have a birthday club? Can you do things like that? Can you have other services that you provide to people? Can you just make sure that they know, like for me in real estate, I can make people buy a home faster or anything like that, except I could increase the frequency of the referrals that they gave me. I could make sure they were giving me a lot more of those. I could make sure I increased the frequency of when I talked with them so that they would think of me and my name would come up a lot more in conversation with others. So how do you increase the frequency? So those are the 8 breakthroughs that we have. And here's a little acronym for it. I'm just kidding around. So I can't think of anything real easy for that. So if
it
you guys
rolls off the tongue, though, I got to tell you that.
So it's perfect. And it's kind of a sexy acronym, if you ask me.
I'm never going to ask you. It's sexy, apparently. So there's that.
So moving on. So those are the 8 breakthroughs. So I'm going to leave this up for just a second in case you didn't write those down. But again, it's attract, collect, convert, raise, referrals, retention, upsell, and frequency, or ACRUF. And if you have, if you're on the creative side of things and can come up with some awesome way to remember that, let me know, because I've been trying to figure it out for years, and that this was the best I came up with. So I haven't gotten very far. But I did add exclamation points and question marks after, so some progress. So obviously, we don't have time to talk about all 8 in vast detail on here. I mean, this would be hours and hours in order to go through each of them. And within each of them, there are dozens of different strategies. But I wanted to pick 3 that you could do right now that don't cost you a dime extra, and you can incorporate those into your business starting today with that. So want to make sure you have pen and paper ready. So we've gone through the math. We figured out how much extra you could increase your business by. And the example that I had in there, it was about $24,000 a year. We've talked about what the 8 breakthroughs are, and now we're going to go into 3 in a lot of detail. So the first one, let's talk about raising prices. Raising prices. So I told you how I did it in my example, one of the things you have to do, I mean, I went to more expensive homes, and that was one way. But I also mentioned that I started charging more than the rest of my competition was, and not a little bit more. And I was like the new guy on the block. At this point, I was about 25 years old, a couple years out of school, and I was charging 7% to sell a home when everybody else was charging 5% to sell a home. Some were even charging 4.5% or 4%. The difference was I was an absolute authority on what I was doing. They were getting all that follow-up from me. They were getting a ton of follow-up. They were getting a lot of value. I had websites that talked about all the tips. They were getting a lot of information from me that really set me apart as the authority in the market. I actually white labeled a book that I could use. I think it was about a 48-page book that I would send to all the prospects. I had a whole package that I would send to them the first time we talked, and then they got hit every month with different materials that really set me apart. So when it came time to sell, they knew I was the authority in that. I had lots of testimonials as well, which was the social proof. Every month I would send out a postcard that was called Stories of Success. And this was about somebody, and we're going to actually talk about this more, but somebody I had worked with and helped. So this had a lot of different purposes in there. And actually, the other thing I did was, even when I was brand new, sitting at all those open houses, I would get the other agents. I was sitting at their open house, but they would send out postcards on their dime advertising the open house. It would have my name on it, and I got to send it out to who I wanted to send it out to. So even though I was brand new, because I was sitting at 4 open houses a month, and I got other agents to pay for the postcards, and they gladly did. It was super cheap for them to do versus spending their Saturdays and Sundays sitting in some stranger's house. All of my friends, neighbors, my target prospects, they were getting a postcard every single week, and sometimes 2 a week, saying that I've got all these open houses. So if they didn't know better, they thought these were all the houses that I was representing. So it built that authority position in their mind very quickly, and they would come by the houses and they would see the houses and all of that. So even though I was new, it looked like I had 4 to 8 homes that I had for sale at any given time. So these people were getting hit a lot. So you need to be in front of them. Created that social proof. You've got to be, and this has to be online and offline. You've got to make sure your website is doing everything possible. There's tools like Lead Pages that makes you helps you to collect the information, but makes you have real professional looking websites. You've got to make sure you have a lot of reviews. Do you have testimonials from people? I use Yelp all the time. I just moved to Nashville and I know nothing about this area. So if I'm checking out a restaurant, the first thing I do is I look at what other people say about it. When I was checking out where to live, I went in and looked at what other people were saying about the different neighborhoods, the different buildings, all of that. So you got to make sure that you're getting good reviews and that you've got a system for getting good reviews. What's your social media look like? And I'm not talking like Pinterest. Like if you sell physical goods, Pinterest can be very important. But I'm talking about the sites like, what's your Facebook look like? Do you have a business page or do you just have a personal page? Is your business page set up correctly? Is it updated in a timely manner? What about LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a vastly underutilized site by many. If you're in professional practices, a professional service provider, a consultant, a coach in marketing, you should absolutely be up on LinkedIn. We were just meeting with a person the other day who, this is his first year in business. He's generated over $100,000 in sales off of LinkedIn. He's a business consultant. So gotta absolutely have that looking good. So LinkedIn, Instagram, I mean, I don't even know if Twitter's like a thing, but if it's a thing in your industry, make sure it's on there. Do you have blogs? How do those look? Are those updated regularly, or do you have a blog and the last blog post was from 18 months ago? That's doing you more harm than good. Do you have books, whether it's white labeled, whether you wrote it, anything like that? Do you have something? You can be up and running on Amazon in a month with a book. So, I mean, are you doing that? Do you have systems in place so that when people check you out, you look like the authority? And you've got to have a system to raise your prices. So the other day, it was actually about 2 weeks ago, I got what you see on your screen from Netflix. This was an email. Hey, Mike, the cost of your Netflix membership is going to increase to $10.99. And I had to look it up. I didn't even know what that guy was paying. I actually thought it was more than that a month. So this was not necessarily bad news to me. But it said on December 30th, it's going to go up. And I like that they say why, so we can add more of what you like to watch. And I thought this was funny because if you look at the bottom of that screen, it has like recently added. And I don't know how they pick the Netflix show The Punisher, which is like an ultra violent comic book show, and then it's followed up by Baby Boss and Smurfs. So I don't know if that's for everybody or they tailor it to the people's tastes, but I'm wondering what I watch.
I would say they know you really, really, really well. That's what that shows me.
Exactly. So I did think that was funny that it was so that it could be more of what I want to watch, like Baby Boss and Smurfs. So that's good. And no, I don't have kids or anything, so it's not like they're watching those shows, so that's not why it comes up on there, so that's interesting. But they gave a reason, and they increased it, and I looked it up, and I was paying $9.99 a month right now, so that's a 10% increase. Again, am I going to get rid of Netflix? No, I want my Netflix. I want the new shows that are on there. A couple of my favorite shows that kind of come out on an annual basis are on there. So 10%, that's fine. I'm not going to bat an eye, and I doubt that most people who are like addicted to Netflix are going to cancel because it's an extra $1 a month, $12 a year. That's less than like the cost of one movie. So that's fine. I don't really get, they made it super easy for people to cancel. I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's basically saying, hey, if you don't want to continue, just click here. We couldn't make this easier for you. But that's their whole thing. So there's 3 ways, though, to increase your prices. And this is one you can literally do today. So pick 5%. You're scared about 5%, pick 3%. But the big thing is schedule it. If you're only going to pick 3% or 5% today, mark down on your calendar that you're going to do this again 6 months from now. Or if you say, hey, I'm an accountant, Mike, I really bill most of my clients annually around tax time. Well, that's a great time to raise it. Chances are, like me, they don't even know what the heck they paid last year exactly. So if you charged $500 to do their taxes last year, and this year you're charging $550 to do their taxes, and it just kind of comes out in that letter in an assumptive, hey, here's what the fee is, people aren't going to even know what that is. So you don't even have to like make a big deal about increasing it to them. I mean, Netflix is a subscription, so they're probably required to disclose a little bit more on that. But if you just deal with people annually, it's not like you go when you go to the gas station each day, the guy runs out and says, hey, today you're going to pay $2.39. I know last week you paid $2.19 a gallon, but it's $2.39 today. So I just wanted to warn you. So don't make a big deal out of it for people. So 3 ways. First is you can do this with all your customers, new and old, and this is what Netflix is doing on there. So they did, and then the important thing about this, if you're going to do it to your existing customers, is talk about the new benefits. Now, like Netflix, they said so we can add more of what you like to watch. That's about the weakest new benefit I see, but again, I'm going to probably stay on anyways. It's 10%, doesn't really matter. And I put new benefits in quotes because a lot of times people don't know all the benefits they're entitled to anyways with a lot of businesses. So if you just kind of reiterate the benefits that they already have and you say it's so that we can provide this level of service, do this, include this, it could be all the things that they already get. And it's just a reiteration of those things. So you can do it to all customers. Secondly, you can just do it to new customers. So Netflix could have come and said, they might not have even sent anything to me, but a smart thing to do would be, hey, Mike, you're a loyal Netflix subscriber. As an existing customer, you're only paying $9.99 a month, but all new customers are going to be paying $10.99 or $11.99 a month. And the new customers, they would just get that $10.99 or that $11.99 a month. But if you're going to do that, I would reiterate that to your current customers and tell them they're quote unquote grandfathered in, and put some criteria around that. So if they ever cancel, they're going to have to go up and pay for those added benefits. And we actually did this with our Powerful Professionals membership. We added a ton of new benefits, but if you were in there, if you've been with Insiders Elite for a long time, you had a lower rate and you were grandfathered as long as you did not quit. If you quit and you want to come back, then it's going to be that new rate. But everybody who was in that Marketing Insiders Elite, they got the new benefits as long as they stay. And then the third way is to have a grace period. So Netflix, they kind of did this a little bit. It's like a month grace period. They said in December 30th, 2017. I'm not sure why it's not just like January 1st, but whatever. So December 30th, my price is going up. So you can tell people, hey, you got a grace period for 3, 6, 12 months, but just so you know, next year it's going to be, if you're that accountant, $550 to do your taxes, but you really sell it as, hey, you're going to save $50 this year on your taxes. So those are the 3 easiest ways to raise your prices and the 3 ways you can do it. But the important thing is that you schedule it and you do it. So that's number 1, raising prices. Number 2 are referrals. And I'm going to go quickly through this. Referrals, but what you want to do is think of them as introductions and not referrals, because when you kind of close your eyes and look in your mind and you try and picture a referral, what the heck is a referral? So stop asking for referrals when no one in their can picture what the heck a referral would look like. They can picture introductions because you introduce people all of the time. Also, do it by design, not by chance. Have a system in place with it. And you've got to have constant and consistent communication. I also call those the 3 C's in a very original kind of way. You want to ask for them and be specific, and we're going to get more into this in just a second. And you can do this in a variety of ways, by email, by video, by newsletter, by phone, by mail. And best of all, you do all 5 of those ways and more that I haven't listed on here. The best way to do it and how I did it is using the magic 8-sentence referral formula. So what's that look like? I'm going to read this. It's a little long, but in order for you to get the idea, I want to go through this because I want you to get a ton of value from today and be able to take this, raise your prices, use the 8-sentence referral formula, and go from there. So it went something like this. The 8 sentences are, hey, Beth had taken a job in Chicago about a year ago. She wasn't from the area and wasn't sure if she'd like it. Beth had heard about Chicago winters and was a little worried. But after a year, she fell in love with the city, her job, and decided it was time to stop renting and invest in a condo. But Beth had a few credit issues in the past and was still paying off student loans and didn't have a ton of work history, so she wasn't sure she could get a loan. And even if she could, she had no idea where to start when it came to buying a home. But because of some helpful coworkers, Beth got the guidance she needed. She quickly got approved for a loan and found a cute 1-bedroom condo that was just a few blocks away from a dog park. Beth really wanted a puppy and totally loves her new neighborhood. All because one of her office mates cared enough to call me up and ask if I could point her in the right direction. So who do you know at work or through friends who is newer to the area and might want to take the next step but isn't sure where to start? Let me know, and I'd be glad to send them my free guide to the Chicago Condo, the Chicago Condo Guide. I stayed up all night thinking of that one, where I go through 13 different Chicago neighborhoods and what each has to offer, including price points, social activities, and public transportation. Simply shoot me a text at blah, blah, blah with the phrase Chicago or Condo Guide and include your name in case I don't have it in my phone. I'll quickly give you a call to find the best way for you to introduce me to them. So that's what that looked like. And I told you I sent out postcards every month that were called Stories of Success. That's exactly what these were. Each month I featured kind of a different story of someone I had worked with, told a little bit about them, and see how I highlighted someone very specific. So this month it was Beth. She was looking for a 1-bedroom in Chicago, and she was newer to the area. And I gave them ideas. Hey, a coworker or a friend who's newer to the area. It's so much easier for people to give you a referral and introduce you to people when they have someone specific in their mind. If you just say, hey, do you know anyone who might be thinking of buying or selling a home, which is exactly what I was taught, and that worked like 0% of the time. Then when I said, hey, do you have anyone new at work who's newer to the area who might be thinking about buying? Oh, yeah, I actually do. I've got 3 new coworkers, and Beth was just talking about how she loved the place and might be looking soon and was asking me about neighborhoods. So here are the steps. We're going to go through them quickly. So this is how you use it. The format's simple. It's just a story of a journey of one of your successful past customers, clients, or patients. So step number 1 isn't a sentence, but it's probably the most important. It's the part where you got to get specific. And so you want to identify a past customer, client, or patient who was the type of person you'd like to attract. So in my case, it was a first-time buyer, new to the area, who was renting, so they didn't have anything to sell, and that was who I wanted. So sentence 1 highlights the person and sets the stage. Sentence 2 introduces the problem. So I said Beth was new to the area. She had some credit issues, and she didn't have a lot of work history. Sentence 3 introduces the idea of the helpful friend. This is the person who's the hero of the story. It's the person who's receiving the email, the letter, the phone call. And I said, if we go back, because of some helpful coworkers, Beth got the guidance she needed. I didn't say because of me. I said because of you, the person reading the postcard. Sentence 4 resolves the problem. This was Beth had found a condo and was going through some of the highlights. It was near a dog park, etc. Sentence 5, again, highlights the concept of that helpful friend. And I said, all because one of her office mates cared enough to give me a call and ask if I would point her in the right direction. Sentence 6 asks them to think of their version of this person. So I said, do you have a coworker or a friend who's newer to the area who might be thinking about buying their first property? Sentence 7 gives them a compelling offer. So this was, I said, to text me at the number and with Chicago or Condo Guide in there. So it was super easy. So that's the compelling thing. Obviously, if you're not going to go with a guide, it's got to be some kind of compelling offer. And then sentence 8 tells them exactly how to do it. So that's really where, so there was the compelling offer, the Condo Guide, and then I told them to text me to get that. So then on my postcard or in the email or in the newsletter that I'd send out, I would use it all 3 places all the time because I didn't assume everyone read every one of my emails or looked at each one of my postcards or read every newsletter article. I'd have a picture of Beth, and if she had the puppy, it was definitely going to include the puppy too. It may or may not even have the home in the picture. If it was a nice home, doing that. If it was not a lovely home, I would find a way around that. So maybe just the puppy. So that is the 8-sentence referral formula. This was responsible for hundreds of thousands of dollars in income to me over the year. It was just one thing. It did not take long to do every month. It took me about 10 minutes a month to write it up because it was a real story about a real client that I had worked with. So I would do this for people who lived on a golf course, empty nesters, move-up buyers, move-down buyers, you name it. I wanted to highlight all the different markets that I could work with, but I was only doing one at a time because you got to ask people to think of one specific type of person. So that is the 8-sentence referral formula. If you want to start getting business today, write up the story using this formula and send it out, email it out, create a video where you're telling about that and just post that. On your blog or send it out via email. So that was easy. Doesn't cost a dime to do. Number 3, and the final one that we're going to have time for today is conversion. So we've got to take those prospects, turn them into leads, but most importantly, turn those leads into buyers. Zig Ziglar, one of the great sales trainers of all time, said timid salespeople have skinny kids. You've got to be asking for the sale. So the fastest way to add thousands of dollars to the bottom line without adding a single penny of expense is to convert more leads into sales. let's just say you have 10 leads right now and you're really good at closing those leads. Say half of the people end up buying with you. It doesn't cost you anymore to get to 7 or 8 out of 10. That money all flows straight through to your bottom line. So if you can just get better at conversion, you can add thousands of dollars real quickly. So how the heck do we do this? So we got a couple options here. We can learn how to be better at selling by doing things in person, by taking courses, by reading books, by going to classes. This was all stuff I did. I also studied. I went to seminars, some costing me like $3,000 to $5,000 to become better at marketing so that they were pre-sold. So I didn't have to like do much selling. I would also practice with scripts and memorize phrases so that I could overcome objections and break down barriers. And that is how I did it. And it takes a lot of time. It absolutely works. You've got to be willing to invest hours and hours and thousands of dollars with it. Or you can use a proven template so you don't need to do any of that and close sales via email with things like the 3-day payday. So this is the other thing I want you to take notes on is the 3-day payday. It's a very simple yet elegant system that's incredibly effective to close more of those leads into sales. So what is the 3-day payday? I'm looking at the clock. We're going to go through this a little bit quickly because I have 90 minutes and then this kicks me off of here. But a 3-day payday is a special promotion highlighting one product or service for a limited amount of time with some sort of bonus or urgency attached in order to produce a large influx of cash in a short amount of time. So what is this? It's basically like a sale, but it doesn't have to be a sale based on price. You can do bonuses. You can do other things with that. Step 1 is creating demand through a proof of concept story, illustrative or educational content, and future pacing. So just real quickly, this would be an email on day 1 where you talk about a problem or a goal or an obstacle that people have. So you just kind of highlight that. The media's email, and then your goal is really to just get them to read the email and think about the concept of it. Step 2, which is also day 2, is to send an email that talks about the product you're offering. Again, it's product or service. You reference the blog post or the email from the day before, and you talk about the outcomes they'll receive and take them to a sales page. So I say a sales page. This could be, you could actually be selling something, or this could be a guide, or it could be calling you for an appointment. This day you mentioned the bonus in the PS. So this is where you have that bonus. So if it's going to be something that is a % off, or if you're adding in something special, you've got a bonus with that. If you're a gym owner and instead of four sessions for a month with their membership, they now get 5, or do they get an upgraded one where once a month they get a personal training session with you, the owner? Is that the bonus with that? And the goal is really to get them to that sales page, whatever that is. Is it your website? And when I say sales page, it could be a conversation with you. It could be to get them to come into your office, a face-to-face appointment. That's how it was for me in real estate. And then step number 3 was where you send another email that highlights the bonus that really sells them. So they probably know about your product or service. They're on your list because you've collected their name in the past. You've collected their email, their phone number, whatever it is. You reference the previous 2 messages or invitations they've received, and you have a PS that highlights the guarantee and the deadline. So you always want to have a deadline with it, and a guarantee is also a great thing. So the goal is to have them so excited about the bonus that you get them to the sales page, the appointment, whatever it is, based on that bonus alone. So I know I flew through that, but let me give you a real life example. And this just happened, what is that, October 21st? So about a little under 2 months ago. So this was one of our powerful professionals, Lorette Willis. She said she had just launched a 3-day payday, overcame a number of tech challenges, awesome job. She didn't let things stop her. So many people say, I can't do this because I don't have a good email list. I don't have a good website. I don't have this, didn't have that. So it didn't go out at 8 a.m., but it went out in the evening. She sent it out to over 10,000 people. So she had been collecting people's information for a while because she had 10,000 people on her list. When I was in real estate, I never had anywhere near 10,000 people. In fact, my emails went to about 300 people. That was as big as that got. But Lorette had 10,000 people. And this is what happened. And the first thing, she just kind of gave the email that she had sent out. She used a template that we had provided to her. Then she wrote, so that was on October 21st. On October 22nd, Lorette wrote 25 orders so far on day one. So she's now on day 2 of the 3-day payday. Oh, she was giving what her email was for day 2. So I clicked on the link and found she was just selling something for $17. But it was delivered digitally, so it didn't cost her a penny to deliver. It actually just gave them like a login and password. So on day 1, she had 25 orders at $17, so she had made $425 just using that email from day 1. And then she went, day 2 continued. She posted that next day that she had 510 in sales. Plus, if we look here, she said 30 products sold so far. So she was up from 25 to 30. And she had 5 additional orders that came in as a result of that campaign. So these were upsells that she had. That's another breakthrough. And she already had those in place. So she had upsells, so 5 additional orders. And she said, plus people spontaneously posted testimonials on her page. This is that social proof. This is what lets you raise your prices. That's a whole nother breakthrough. So this actually accomplished 3 things all at once. How much did it cost her? 0. These were emails she already had. Didn't cost her a single penny to do this. And she gave the subject and everything of hers. This Wonder Woman's on there because that was in her post. I don't know why she included that. She was happy. I don't know if she was feeling like Wonder Woman. I kind of like to think she was calling me Wonder Woman. So I'm just kidding. And then let's talk about day 3. So that was October 23rd. So she had sent out the final one, and then she waited a day. She said, final numbers are in my 3-day payday. 64 orders of her primary products. That's a $17 download. 8 additional orders, so 8 upsells, prompted by the promotion. Nice. I have no idea how much the things were that she had sold. They were probably varying prices, but just those 64 orders at $17, in 3 days, she generated 4 figures in income she would have never had. Plus those additional sales, plus those testimonials, just using a proven template on there. So much easier than reading books, going to seminars, doing all of that. Other people have already done all of that and have the resources, the materials that you need. So we've gone through 3 things. We went through referrals, raising prices, and then converting more people into customers using automated systems, or I shouldn't say automated, systems that you don't have to actually talk to anyone on there. Now, with me, I was giving out guides. I was getting people engaged. I was getting appointments. I couldn't sell a home to somebody via an email. That wasn't going to happen. But I could get people to come in to talk with me about buying a home or selling a home by using these types of things. And the first step was usually a guide, or I'd give out a bonus for if they came in to meet with me. At that time. So I promised you that we'd figure out exactly how much more you could make. So you've got that number. I hope that's written out. A bunch of you said you got it. Secondly, I showed you 3 different ways, things you can incorporate today. You could get off this and start doing these things right now. And then I said I would show you the easiest way to do this. So the easiest way to do this is one of 2 ways. This is very subtle, the wrong way and the right way. So you can go it alone. You can take what I've shown you today, apply the steps yourself, and figure out how to implement the 8 breakthroughs in your business. This is what I did for years until I realized that there were people who'd already been where I was at and where they were at where I wanted to go. So I started to get tools and templates and everything and started to get coaching and realized that I could cut out of years of trial and error because they had already done this and they could do those templates. So, or you could be up and running fast with expert guidance and proven templates. This is the 8 breakthroughs, our system, 56 days to doubling your profits. And why the heck do I have 56 days in there? Well, I kind of slowed things down here. So let's take a quick breath. I'm going to take a drink of water. I said, maybe you can't apply all these immediately. That's not really true. You can, except let's say you apply just one of them a week. So you've got 8 breakthroughs. You apply just one of them a week for 8 weeks. That's 56 days. You take it, you apply one strategy, one system, one tool, one template a week for 8 weeks, one of each of the 8 breakthroughs. And each breakthrough has literally dozens of different ways, dozens of different strategies and tools and templates that you can use, but you just pick one, super easy, and you apply that to that. If you get just a 10% increase, so 10% increase in the number of leads, 10% increase in the number of collection and conversion and referrals and all of that, these new systems you put in place, you will have more than doubled because, again, these work, they build on each other. If you have more leads, you're automatically going to have, even if everything else stays the same, you're going to have higher conversions. But when you get higher conversions and higher collection on a higher number of leads, they start to compound on each other. And that's the big breakthrough. You're no longer playing in the same sandbox as the rest of your competitors because every little thing you add in builds on each other. So you can be up and running fast with these expert guidance. But before we get into the details about that, let's talk about who this is not for. And we talked about it at the beginning. This is not for you if you're closed-minded, if you're unwilling to try something new. These are going to be new strategies. If you're happy with what you've already got, then you probably wouldn't be on here today. But if you just want to do the same thing that you've already done and magically have different results, that's not going to happen. You got to be open-minded. You got to be willing to try something new. And this isn't like new. It's new to you. These are proven templates, proven strategies that have worked. And again, this isn't for you if you're not in the game. If you don't currently have a business, I don't want you to invest in this. I want you to take that money, take that time, and get your business up and going. Then as soon as you have that up and going, take what I've taught you today, write down those strategies, implement those, and then come back and see us. And so that you can implement these. Because if you don't have a business, I don't want you spending money on new tools and things that's really not for you. So this is for people already in business. So like we said, this is for people who want new ways. They want to grow exponentially rather than incrementally. They realize that there's a better way. They can work smarter and not harder. Then this is for you. So the 8 breakthroughs to 56 days to doubling your profits is delivered a few different ways. There's going to be a live training with Q&A on January 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to go through all 8 of the breakthroughs. We went through a couple examples today. On January 22nd, this is going to be a several-hour training where live, we're going to go through all 8 of the breakthroughs. You're going to have live Q&A with myself and Kim, and we're going to go through all of the tools, the templates, the examples, the things that you can use in here. Everything is templated and it's recorded. So if you already are going to be on vacation or you got to work at that time or something, no worries. It's all 100% recorded. You'll actually have access to it within about an hour of the training happening. And you'll have lifetime access to everything via the templates and the tools. So you'll get them all. How to attract. We're going to go through all the ways to get more leads. We're going to talk about all the tools that you can use to collect more people. We're going to go through dozens of real life examples from people who are doing it now. We're going to talk about all the different ways, not just the 3-day payday, but the different ways you can convert more people into customers. How do you raise your fees? Go through all the strategies with that. How to build your authority position with that. How to get more referrals, more introductions, and how to get them by design and not by chance. This was something, so by my 3rd year in the real estate business, once I had added in all those other things, I was getting over 80% of my new clients via referrals and past customers. And we have all the tools and templates you can use. And these aren't just for real estate agents. We show you no matter what industry, we've got these and designed for you. Then how to retain them, how to make sure you don't lose them to your competitors. So many people make that mistake. They try it once and they think people will come back to them just because they had a good product or good service. I was talking with a good friend of mine from Chicago last night, and we were talking about a restaurant that we both love. And he goes, holy crap, I haven't been there in 2 years. And it was his wife's favorite restaurant as well. And realize it's not because they didn't like it. There's just a lot of restaurant options in Chicago. And so they just hadn't thought about it. So instead, we want you coming back again and again. You got to retain those people. How to upsell people, just like Lorette did. How did she not only make 64 sales of her primary product, but she made 8 sales of upsell? That's like free money for people, but you've got to have systems in place to do this. And then how do you increase that frequency? How do you get people to work with you more and more often in there? These are the 8 breakthroughs that we're going to go through. So we're going to do that all live. Then you're going to get lifetime online access to everything. So I hope you'll join us live. If you can't join us live, you got all the recordings. We have over 47 pages of templates, tools, and fill in the blank documents. You're going to get complete video and audio of the entire system, plus Q&A. You're going to get the workbooks, the slides, the notes, so you have step-by-step instructions to everything. It's all online, and you will have it for life so that you can go back again. Because the nice thing is, there's so many strategies in there. After the first 56 days, if you just go back through and you say, okay, I've got my leads in place from the first one, I've got my conversion system, and I've got my prices raised. You've just used the 3 things, kind of like what we talked about initially there. You've probably doubled your profits already, but 56 days later, you go through the new lead method and you go through you add in upsells to that. You just keep layering these strategies in. They're all very simple strategies in themselves, even though they only take, minutes or hours to incorporate because of all the tools and templates. We're giving you a full week to, I'm saying 56 days, just implement one thing a week, one tiny thing, and do that every 56 days so you can double your profits again and again and again. But it doesn't end there. We want you to have 3 live coaching calls after that. So we're going to give you this whole program. You're going to have a couple weeks to start implementing everything. Then about a month after you've had your chance to go through it, start doing all those things, really get familiar with that, we're going to have 3 live coaching calls so you can answer your question. We can answer your questions. We want to know, where did you have struggles with it? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? And we can usually find those tweaks very quickly. It's often people get a little bit too creative and too clever. They change some of the wording. They say, hey, Mike, instead of doing it this way, I just did it that way. Or we get this all the time with one of our programs, 10,000 fans. They're like, Tim, I followed all of your instructions, except I changed the color and I did it for more words and I changed the targeting. Any one of those things will break the system. But they still ask. So that's why we have these coaching calls. And we're going to bring in top experts. One of the people we're going to bring in, and this is so great for you if you're in the professional services, financial services, if you're a coach or consultant, any of that, we're actually bringing in the guy who's generated over $1,000, or not $1,000, I'm sorry, $100,000 in his first year in business via LinkedIn. He's going to show exactly how he did that and what he used with that. We're also going to bring in a top expert who's going to show one simple tool that you can use monthly that takes about an hour a month and doubles your sales and triples your referrals. So this turns leads into buyers, and it will triple your referrals in about an hour a month with one simple tool. And it's a tool I absolutely love. I discovered it early on in my real estate career. I'm the biggest advocate for this tool because it works. And then the third live coaching call, we're going to bring in a person who's going to show you his 10-minute formula, how he sells $5,000 packages via email. Now you say, Mike, I don't even have a $5,000 package. That's fine. If you can sell a $5,000 package via email, you can probably sell a $50 or a $5 or a $1,500 package via email. So he's going to show you his 10-minute formula on how he's selling $5,000 packages via email. So it's not just live Q&A where we're going to answer your questions. You're going to get 3 calls from these top experts that are going to show you new strategies that are not in the system, and they're going to give you the tools and templates that they use. So what are you going to get? You're going to get the live call with Q&A. So it's that multi-hour training on January 22nd. So the 56 days to doubling your profits. You're going to get all of the online access for lifetime, where you've got over 47 different templates, tools, fill in the blank documents that you can use. You're going to get all of the videos and tutorials on how to use each and everything. And you're going to get those 3 live calls that happen afterwards with live coaching, Q&A, and strategies from the top experts in the business. So I want you to ask yourself and turn to that thing that you had written earlier on and say, what would this be worth to me? What would it be worth to me right now to implement these strategies in my business? Before, we talked about just 4 things and we made very small tweaks to them. So you should have a number there. What if you doubled your profits just using those 4 small things? Heck, what if you just took half of that number? So instead of $24,000 a year, you added just $12,000 a year. For a lot of you, I know your number was much, much higher because you're making a heck of a lot more than I might have made my first year in the business. So ask what this would be worth to you in your system. You're going to get the 8 breakthroughs, you're going to have everything for life, and you're going to have that coaching and consulting, those 3 calls. And again, those will all be recorded and put into your member site. So if you can't be on them live, that's absolutely fine. So the investment in this system is 3 monthly investments of $197. So we know it's the time of year where you've got a lot going on, but we don't want to wait. We want to get you started right now, but we want you to get up and running before you ever have to make a second investment. So we did 3 monthly investments of $197, but that's not what you're going to pay, because quite frankly, we know we're not delivering this until January. So what we're going to do, we're going to take care of the first payment. We're even going to take care of that second payment. And so instead of that, you're going to get everything for just 1 investment of $197. It's not going to be 3 payments of $197. You will see it be released in January for a much higher price, because they are going to be getting all of the training in a much shorter amount of time. But if you invest today, you can save $400 by moving forward. So what you need to do that is you simply open a new tab and go to powerfulprofessionals.com /8. Again, that's powerfulprofessionals.com /8. And that will take you to that investment page and how you can do that right now, how you save $400 and you get almost $700 in something that I'm going to talk about in just a second.
And the link is inside chat as well.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, you could go into your chat and click on that link. So first of all, we stand behind everything that we sell. There's a 100% satisfaction guarantee. You're going to see it on that page, but it's not 30 days from today. It's 30 days from the live training. So the training that happens on January 22nd, you're going to get 30 days to go through everything, to go through those 47 pages of templates and tools, implement this. And if you don't think this is going to be worth at least 10 times what you've invested, so that's $2,000. So you're investing just 1 payment of $197. If you don't get at least $2,000 back on your investment, then we will happily refund your entire investment in the program. I know this works. You know it works if you've gone through it. You've gone through real life examples of companies who've made this work for them. For Lorette, it was worth $1,000 in just 3 days, actually more than $1,000 when we add in everything with her upsells and all. That was just taking one strategy that she used, and there are dozens and dozens of strategies. You can pick and choose, because honestly, some of them might not be for you. You say, I don't want to do that. Mike, I don't want to do those 3 emails. That's fine. That's up to you. If you're not into that, you don't have to do it. There are dozens of strategies you get to pick and choose from with that. And again, it's a 10 times guarantee, and you will get every dollar of your investment back. Go through things, pour through it for 30 days. And then for you, when you go to that page, if you go before the clock hits zero. We've added a couple bonuses because I don't want you to wait. I want you to start getting results right now. So when you go to that page and you invest now, you're not only going to get all the slides from this, because I know we went through some things kind of quickly. So you can take like that 8-sentence magic referral formula. You're going to get that also, but we talked about LinkedIn, and we're going to have that expert positioning and authority position from LinkedIn domination. This is a course that Kim developed. We released earlier this year that shows you how to get your LinkedIn up and running. How do you start getting those leads via LinkedIn? How do you get people calling you? And then when we get to that expert coaching session, you're going to be ready to go with that. So Kim, did you have anything you wanted to add in about link domination? It usually sells for $497, but you'll get it immediately free when you invest now.
Without spending any money on advertising, you can score your perfect customers. We show you how to go after those whales, those really big accounts. And whether you're a professional service provider or an online marketer, you're able to leverage the LinkedIn platform to drive direct sales without spending any money on advertising.
Okay, perfect. And so we've got, so I just also added the chat, the shorter link, but the longer one will definitely work for you. So some people, they've had problems in the past when they try and go to a redirect if you're on a phone or a slower internet line or something. So it's 2 links in there. So you get that LinkedIn domination. It's usually $497, and you're welcome to purchase it for that, but you get it for free with one investment of $197. Then
also, I got a bunch of questions about about today's workshop, and we absolutely will include a recording and all the slides from today in the fast action bonus for those of you who order while you're on today.
Yeah, and there should still be a little bit of time on that clock. The other thing we talked about is that 3-day payday, that thing that Laurette did. She sent out 3 emails. Here's another one of our clients who just did this. I actually did it over the Thanksgiving weekend. You'll see, so it was Saturday, November 26th. And you say, hey, this won't work in my niche. Well, that's what a lot of people think. So this gentleman, Stephen Oliver, an amazing person, has a great business, but he caters to owners of karate and martial arts studios. So it's like MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and karate and all of that. So you think it doesn't work in my business? Stephen knew it would work in his. Implemented this for him just a couple weekends ago. Sent out email 1, email 2, email 3. He drove them to a page that was selling one of his programs. He got 25 orders of his complete school. It was the Fill Your School program. He was selling this at $600 each. I think it was usually $1,000. So he went the discount route because that was his choice that he wanted to do. Brought in $14,850 of sales in 3 days. So Laurette did amazing. She did awesome. She brought in over $1,000 in new sales. I would rather be in Stephen Oliver's shoes. He's been at it a long time. He has higher priced products, and he generated almost $15,000 in additional sales in just 3 days. So the other thing that you're going to get immediate access to is the 3-day payday program. So we went through it briefly, but in the 3-day payday program, you get the entire training. We go through it step by step. You get the 3 days of email templates. They're literally fill in the blank templates that you put into there. And you get a bonus 4th day. We didn't talk about earlier. It's a more advanced strategy, but it can double, triple, or even quadruple the sales with that 4th day. So you get that 4th day of email and the strategies. And we talk about all the different things you can do besides just using a price discount. This usually sells for $197, but it's yours free immediately. As long as you invest before that countdown timer hits 0, then those bonuses do come off of that page.
Want to welcome, we got a few students in the door already. We have Walter Wise. We have Anastasia and Nancy. Welcome to our first ones in today.
That's great. So welcome. Can't wait to have you on, and I hope you get a chance to use those things ahead of time. So you're going to get the 8 breakthroughs, the live training with Q&A. You're going to get lifetime access through all the recordings, the videos, the transcripts, the tools, everything from that. You're going to get those 3 live coaching sessions with the experts, Q&A. You're going to have a month to go through it, so you can bring your questions to us, and we can help you tweak things and improve upon your results. You're going to get the 3-day payday, that's $197. You're going to get LinkedIn domination, that's usually $497. Those are going to be included free when you go to powerfulprofessionals.com/8 right now and invest, or you can click in the link in chat. And I told you there would be live Q&A, and we've got a few minutes left. I'll go a couple minutes here until it kicks me off and see what kind of questions that we have. But go to powerfulprofessionals.com/8 right now to get started immediately and get this for the introductory price. You will never see this price with these bonuses again. This is the one chance you're going to get to have this system in here with this current offer.
Hey, Mike, one thing we've gotten a bunch of questions on, so I'll just jump in there and then we'll go into the regular Q&A. We have a lot of our Powerful Professional and Game Changer members on here, and they were asking, is this included? Is this already in what they have? And we often will do these trainings and we give them bonus programs that we include. I do want to be clear, this is a separate program. It is not included in Powerful Professionals. But why we wanted to honor you is you were all invited to today's workshop, so you could get this preferential pricing. We will not, the price will raise in January, and so you got the introductory pricing of the program, and it will dramatically increase in our January launch. We wanted you to get in early, have the opportunity to enroll in the 8 business breakthroughs and get those quick wins and not have to pay the full retail price.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want you guys to have that 3-day payday. That I wouldn't run it this weekend with a lot of people have something else on their mind this weekend. It would be absolutely perfect, though, to run the following weekend, that weekend in between Christmas and New Year's. So no better way to start the new year, but adding 4 or 5 figures of extra income to your business without spending a single penny. So take that 3-day payday and use LinkedIn domination. Get that up and going right away. You will get business just from this one course when you actually implement it. And then in a little over a month from now, when we have one of the world's best experts on LinkedIn to show you how in his first year in business, he's done 6 figures off of LinkedIn. He's going to show you the entire process that he has done with that. You will already be well ahead. You don't have to wait. You're going to have it up and running, so you can just implement what he says with there. So let's go to the other questions. Now that we have a couple minutes.
Question about when the live training is, and another question about, so Nancy asked about when's the live training, and Roxanne asked about the guarantee.
Yeah, no, that's great. So the live training, Nancy, and for everybody, this is going to be on January 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a several-hour training in there because we're going to go through all 8 of the breakthroughs. We're going to go through tons of tools and templates and how to use them. But if you can't make it, it's 100% recorded and you have lifetime access. So don't worry about it. If you can make it, great. If you can't make it because you're going to be on vacation, you're going to be at work, you've got something else planned already, then that's fine. You can go in that night and have access to everything for life. And again, the guarantee. So the guarantee doesn't start today. It starts the day we do the live training. So that's January 22nd. From that day, you're going to have 30 days to go through everything. You're going to have access to absolutely everything, all of those tools and templates. You can go through this for 30 days, start using the strategies, and put them in place in your business. And if within that 30 days, you don't think it's going to add at least 10 times what your investment was, just give us a call and we will happily refund your entire investment in the program. Really, chances are if you buy it today and you just use the 3-day payday and the LinkedIn domination, you'll probably have made 10 times your investment before the training ever happens. But you'll have 30 days from the date of that training.
Roxanne just joined. I saw that. Congratulations, Roxanne. You got in. And she asked, do I have access now to the 3-day sales promotion?
Yeah, so no, that's a great Great question. So I've just got to go in after this. Obviously, this is a live thing, so we're going to go in as soon as we're off, add these into that access. You do have, it will send you an email with your login information, and you will have it right after we get done with this, and it's just got to render and do a couple of those things. So you will have access to everything, say, within about an hour of this. So that's the best we can do doing this live.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you have that, and you have the recording and a couple other
And LinkedIn
unadvertised,
domination.
yeah, unadvertised bonuses too. So that's great. I do want to welcome Roxana as well as Marcus is in, and one of my favorite names I've ever seen, Zuzana, is in as well. Yes, fantastic. So congratulations, you are all in and have secured your bonuses.
Awesome. Let's see. We've got time just for like one more question. If there's anything, we're going to do a going once, going twice, and sold in here. I'm just trying to scan through these to see if we answered.
Yeah, I could do some more welcomes. We have R.A. Hardy. Welcome to the program. Fantastic to have you in here. And we also have Jennifer. So glad to have you as well. And then we have Marcus who posted, I just got into the program. I look forward to implementing this for my copywriting business. Fantastic, Marcus. So glad to have you.
Okay, Marcus, you're absolutely, yeah, for copywriting, it'll be great. You're absolutely going to want to do the LinkedIn domination, like first thing. That is the first thing I would do if I were you. You can start getting clients like immediately if you use the LinkedIn domination course. We had Angela who said, are the tools and strategies targeting service-based businesses? So Angela, these are for service businesses. These are for, you could be an affiliate business, an affiliate marketer. You could sell products and goods online. You could be a physical location. You could be a store who sells face-to-face in there. You could be a professional practice provider. So like I said, you're going to have dozens and dozens of strategies and templates. You may say some of these aren't for you. Maybe they just don't fit your style or something, but you get to pick and choose. That's the great part of this. You can choose what you want for your business. It will work for all of them. The best thing, if you get into this and you say, Mike, I've heard this before. I heard it'll work for any business and it didn't work for me. Guess what? You can just return it. We stand behind this 100%. I have not found a business yet that all 8 of these strategies do not work for. If you are the first that happens across this and you're in an industry or a business that I've never even thought, dreamed of, or heard about out of the thousands I've encountered and worked with to implement these over the years, then we will gladly refund your investment in the program so you can spend it elsewhere. So let's see. That was everything. So I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I look forward to seeing you guys in January and going through this with you. So start going, take that 3-day payday, use that next weekend, generate that 4 figures or that 5 figures, just like Stephen Oliver did, or the 4 figures like Lorette did. Get this going. Use LinkedIn domination, especially Marcus, the copywriter. Use that right away, and you can probably be booking 4 and 5 figure gigs off of just that training before we ever actually deliver the whole 8 big business breakthroughs. Thank you for being on today, Kim. I hope you feel better soon, and I will talk to everybody later.
Bye, everyone.
There now. Bye now.